You're listening to The Pump Fake.
And welcome into the latest edition of the Pump Fake, everybody. Jarrett Bailey here with you. As always, we are presented by FanDuel. And joining me today, my very good friend, Tyler Brooke. What's going on, pal? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. What a weekend of football if you're an NFL and college fan. You got overtimes at night. You got the Dublin game in the mornings. I spent a lot of yesterday recovering. Not a lot of sleep the past couple of days.
I hate international games so much, dude. Especially like when it's my team playing in one of them where I got to like actually care about what's going on at 9:30 in the morning. Like, respectfully, let's stop doing that. I hate it. We're gonna have like 8 London games or whatever the hell it is for the next 4 weeks. It's too much.
It's really interfering with my soccer intake because I love the
You're
Premier
a soccer
League.
Guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Liverpool fan, so I need that like morning to have my coffee and have that on in the background while I'm making like a nice breakfast on Sunday. Because you got to have that like those nutrients before the day because you don't have a lot of time to eat in between the games and stuff.
No,
once they get started.
That's very true. Today we're gonna break down last night's Monday night doubleheader. Another stupid thing that the NFL has begun doing that I hate. I'm just gonna rename the show Jarrett Bitches About Football for an hour because that's.
Do you even like football?
Apparently not. All I do is complain, and I'm very aware of it. I'm trying to do it less. I genuinely am, but oh my goodness, I'm such a cranky person apparently, and I'm really trying to work on that. But let's talk about a couple of the games. We'll start with the one that kicked off the night, Jets-Dolphins. Obviously, the big story coming from this is Tyreek Hill's leg. He's going to be out for the foreseeable future. Obviously, the rest of this season, we'll see about 2026. The Dolphins get the win. I think the bigger story for me, though, was just the Jets had an opportunity to at least get a win. I think coming into the game, they were the team I picked to win. They've looked like the more complete team. They've come close in a couple games against Pittsburgh in week 1, Tampa last week where they had the comeback and it just came up a little bit short. They felt like the team that was the better team going in, and turnovers really prevented that from happening. I think they had 3 on the night, 1 at the goal line. Justin Fields fumbled on a 4th down. They allowed Darren Waller to score 2 touchdowns. Defensively, the Jets just look like a mess. And sitting at 0-4 now, this is, it just feels like, all right, same old Jets. Doesn't matter who's filling what spot. This team just seems to be stuck in this purgatory forever.
Yeah, I'm more really disappointed with the defense because it does feel a bit toothless, which is really surprising when you consider the personnel in that defense. Like, listen.
And the money they've spent on that defense.
Yes, 100%. I wasn't even the biggest Will McDonald fan coming out, and I've been blown away by like how effective he is on film. But like, you can't allow, a near perfect game from Tua, especially once, Tyreek goes out. They're fairly effective on the ground. You're not generating enough splash plays. Some of that probably is on the offense, though. 3 turnovers continue to put the defense in disadvantageous situations. Eventually, you just get worn down. But it is really disappointing. Maybe it's just a new scheme. It takes a minute to go through. I'm a Packers fan. I've watched how long it takes teams to gel with a new defensive coordinator. Like even Jeff Hafley, I think it took a second, even when they were getting the turnovers, to feel at least sustainable. So maybe that's part of it. But this Jets team, what a disaster start to the season. I feel horrible for Jets fans. I don't have too many of them in my life that are just never happy.
Yeah, and for as much as I complain about the Steelers, I do. There is that little piece of me that's like, all right, well, it could be worse.
So much worse.
It could be this. I think, and look, I said this about Robert Saleh too. It was like, all right, I think Robert Saleh could be the guy, and obviously he wasn't. Yeah, I think Aaron Glenn could be the guy. They've been close, like I said, in a few of these games where week 1 it looked like they had the Steelers beat. Against Tampa Bay, they had this incredible comeback, the block field goal for a touchdown. Obviously, Aaron Glenn doing his thing on the sideline where it looked like, all right, this could be an upset win on the road. And they just come up short. And offensively, I don't want to say they play cowardly, but there was a play. They're down by, I think, 2 scores at this point. It's 3rd and 6. They run it. the Dolphins stuff it out immediately, and then they punt. It's just like, all right, man, like you're not showing much of anything right now in terms of giving a shit and showing some level of fight. And the touchdown that they did score early in the game, it was on a bad 4th and 1 play call, in my opinion, where Justin Fields just does Justin Fields things and runs for his life and turns into a long touchdown run. The offense is so very up and down. I think they know what they want to be, and it's a power run team that sets up like the play action pass and whatnot. But this is a team that they need to. There's a lot of cowardly stuff going on, and I don't love what I'm seeing offensively from that side of the ball.
There's hope long term, at least. I think there's a lot of really young pieces on this team on both sides of the football where like you can build a really competent team pretty quickly, especially if you get the quarterback position right. I still think the jury's out on Fields. I still don't know how to feel about him, but like you clearly have 2 franchise tackles already in Fashanu and Membu. And I'm really excited about that part of the team because like if they want their identity to be power run, like I think you can do that with those tackles.
I mean, they had almost 200 yards rushing last night. Like it's there.
Yeah, it's clearly there. There's just, I don't know, man. Like I think they're closer than I think, but at the same time, just performances like this are just massive concerns for me.
I agree. On the other side, Miami, this doesn't really change my opinion on them.
No,
I still think they're a really bad team that faced another bad team and, had some plays. If you bet Darren Waller 2 touchdowns last night, by the way, call the hotline. Like, what are we doing? I don't think anybody expected that in the big year 2025. I did see somebody tweet a picture last night. It's like that classic meme where it's like Darren Waller, the rapper. And that made me laugh pretty hard. None of these teams are going to be any sort of threats, I don't think. They had the treatment of getting Chris Fowler, Louis Riddick, and Dan Orlovsky in the booth. That tells you how the NFL thought about this game.
I hate doubleheaders on Monday Night Football.
It's so bad, man. We got to really get rid of it.
If it was good matchups, like I think we had a couple last year where I was at least entertained. But
but it's always like they'll give you one that on paper looks like it could be really good, and then like last year they had Saints Panthers. It's like, all right, come on, man. Who wants to watch this as a standalone game? This game should be broadcasted on Tuesday afternoon on Tubi. Like, let's stop putting this in a primetime spot.
The old we have like COVID delays where games were being played on different days because
the Steelers played a game on a Wednesday against Baltimore because they had so many COVID.
We had an Ian Book Saints game. Like there was just some weirdness that year.
It's not good. Let's go to the other game real quick.
Do we have to?
We don't really have to, but we probably should. The Broncos outgained the Bengals 5-12 to 159.
Oh, I did not hear. Oh my gosh.
And I know that there's a lot of Bengals fans that are like, oh man, they got to trade for a quarterback. A quarterback isn't fixing what's wrong with this team. Like Russell Wilson isn't going to come in and stop runs from gashing the B gap. Jameis Winston isn't going to do enough to mask all the issues with this team. And I understand that Joe Burrow went down, but it's incredibly evident that he was, the meme where it's, what the hell's the product? Flex Seal, where you just slap it on like that massive leak. Yep. He is the Flex Seal to the massive leak with the Cincinnati Bengals. And, again, I understand Burrow's not out there, but it's pretty evident that offensively and defensively, they have no answers. They have no ideas. No. And I don't think Zach Taylor should be the guy going forward. I don't know what his contract looks like off the top of my head or how much longer he has, but this is a guy who I just don't think is right for the job. Lou Anarumo was very clearly the scapegoat last year, and
very unfairly, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. And look what Indianapolis looks like right now after adding him to the staff. So bringing in Al Golden has only made that defense somehow worse. They've been outscored 76-13 over the last 2 weeks by 2 teams who rank in the bottom half of the league in EPA per play offensively. So this is a team that, while they don't have their MVP caliber quarterback, there's so much more wrong that he was masking, and it becomes more and more evident by the week. So this is more of a story of, okay, maybe the Bengals need to start looking elsewhere for a head coach and rebuilding a staff. Not so much of, I'm not looking immediately when it comes to the Bengals. I'm looking long-term and saying, get somebody else under the headset because this is just ridiculous.
I was recording a different podcast last night during that game, and we had to pause the show briefly because I let out a groan of disgust. And they were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "The Bengals just punted on 4th and 2 at midfield.
Yeah,
And
that
just,
was
like,
all you needed to hear. The waving the white flag. You're just like, all right, can we just get out of Denver and go do something else?
the only thing that made the game truly entertaining, I loved that Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were basically calling out the
Dude,
league for the
yes.
garbage matchups. I've never seen a broadcasting crew, like, usually they'll, like, do it to, very, very subtly. They did not care. They were just outright calling them out. So I loved that part of the game, but you're totally right. The Bengals are a complete disaster. Like,
Yeah.
Joe, it's bad when T. Higgins and Jamar Chase combined for 55 yards.
And Jamar
Like,
Chase, like they showed it on the, I don't know if it was on the broadcast or not, but like there's plenty of fan shots of him like going up to Zach Taylor, clearly frustrated, and just like, dude, we got to do something.
but there's nothing, like, it's no fault of theirs. It's just like there's no way to get them involved in the passing game when Drake Browning's out there. He can't stay upright. You can't even run the ball, so teams don't even have to worry about stacking the box.
Did you see the play or the screenshot of the play where the Broncos sent 3? The Bengals had 4 guys on the interior rush, and both tackles get beat simultaneously, and it results in a sack?
No, but that sounds apt. That's like just exactly what I picture when I'm thinking of this Bengals offensive line. Like, them and Houston, man, are like just painful to watch, especially if you like O-line play. And like, one of my favorite things I've gotten really comfortable watching over the last few years is protection calls and like how, O-lines shift and stuff like that. When you watch a team just horrendously mess it up time and time again, you die a little inside.
And look, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on line play or anything. I posted something about the Texans offensive line after like week 1, and Jeff Schwartz is like, actually, this is
you got to be careful with that.
CJ's no, sure. He didn't really come after me so much. Like, he was very eloquent, be like, actually, CJ's in charge of calling this out, and very clearly he didn't do that. So I think it's more on the quarterback here, which, look, I appreciate that type of stuff. For sure. I would rather
he's the best at it. So.
Exactly. So I would much rather have him be like, actually, this is what happened. Not necessarily saying that the Texans offensive line's great, but, pointing at the intricacies that come with that type of stuff. And, whether it's on Browning or on the offensive line or on the play call, whatever it is, it's clear that the hierarchy of the Bengals right now needs stripped down and restarted. And there's a very obvious answer that's been lurking for the last 2 years. And it's a certain guy in Buffalo who was with Jamar Chase and with Joe Burrow at LSU. If they do move on from Zach Taylor, I would imagine Joe Brady is the first guy they call and say, hey, man, you want to get the band back together in Cincinnati? Because they would love to have you, and so would we.
That'd be fun. I would enjoy that. My favorite thing last year during the head coaching search stuff is Josh Allen got asked if Joe Brady could be a head coaching candidate, and he just went, no, he sucks.
No, he sucks. Everybody stay away. I thought that was very funny, too. Yeah. Yes.
I'm very curious to see. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Even when they were going to the Super Bowl, I was like, man, Zach Taylor's really saving his job, because I do not think he is. The fact that he's held on to this job for as long as he has, that Super Bowl appearance has gotten him a lot of mileage.
Absolutely. And it would be interesting for me to see Joe Brady get that job if and when it becomes available, just because of the stark differences between he and Zach Taylor, where Joe Brady understands he has Josh Allen, but isn't going to put everything on his plate. Like, the Bills' offense is very more efficiency based now, and getting the run game going and built around an offensive line that's very good. And we saw what it looks like when one of those offensive linemen goes down, by the way, with Buffalo. Spencer Brown didn't play against New Orleans, and the Saints got home a few times, forced Josh Allen into a couple mistakes. So I think compared to what the Bengals are doing now, where it's all right, 9, go out there and do some stuff. They don't have any sort of semblance of a run game. And it's painful to watch, especially now with Burrow not out there, and they're trying to make Jake Browning do everything. It's just not going to work. Yeah. So I don't know. Do we learn anything about Denver? I'm kind of in a similar boat where it's like, Denver, they didn't really impress me last year because they didn't beat any teams worth a damn. And Bo Nix hasn't looked great this year. It's great that they put up 500 yards, and Nix had a career high in passing yards, and offensively they look pretty good. But again, this is against a Bengals defense that's just so bad.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of takeaways for them. I'm excited about more RJ Harvey tick. I think he's really fun in that offense. The defense, I think, is just trying to figure its stuff out, which I'm totally fine with. I think they have so much talent,
Still
all 3
early.
levels. It's such a healthy team as far as just like the spine of that defense is so rock solid that I feel very confident that, like, if they can just figure their stuff out by the end of the year, that is, I still believe, can be a dangerous playoff team. I'm not saying they're like a Super Bowl contender favorite or anything like that, but it's a team that can give even the best AFC teams some real trouble, because if that defense is clicking, it's really hard to play against them.
Yeah, very much so. I think that's a good transition into what we're going to do for the rest of the show, which is the NFL Give a Shit Index.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, and like I told you in the lobby, most people around, each week, and we do it on the show too, just game by game recap and whatnot. But I think that this is a good time for what used to be the quarter mark of the season. Now we obviously have the extra game and the extra week to look at every team and decide whether or not they are worth caring about. So we'll kind of go, I don't want to say team by team, but, we'll have the usual suspects on either end. We'll find that perfect middle ground on which team we draw the line at as do we care about them or should we not? So let's start at the top. There's obvious teams that we're going to keep caring about. Buffalo, Philadelphia, the lone unbeatens remaining. We obviously care about them. I don't know. Who do you think is the better of those two teams right now? Is it Buffalo or Philadelphia?
I mean, I love Buffalo. It feels like everything's setting up for them to, ideally get over the hump. So, which that means something heartbreaking and tragic will happen because it's Buffalo. But I love the way the pass game is meshing with the run game. I'm not worried about the Saints game because I think the Saints are very quickly becoming a team that's not the worst. I think there are very clearly a couple other teams that are behind them now in the who is the most turbo dog shit team out there. They're fun and frisky, and I think that game is more of a reflection on the Saints not being as bad as everyone thinks. So Josh Allen's a superhuman. James Cook is quickly ascending into stardom, superstardom.
I would say that he's a top 5 running back right now. I don't think that's too crazy to say.
Not at all. I think the addition of Josh Palmer's really opened up a lot of the passing game. Like they have 3 really fun weapons at receiver now.
Dalton Kincaid's having a great year.
Yeah, which that one blew me away. I just think everything about that. I think their defense it can do enough for me. I think when healthy too, like the addition of Bosa combined with Ed Oliver, you can, give people a lot of problems in the trenches. There's so much I'm excited about with this team. It's the most impossible team to hate. So
and I think with Philadelphia, there's like always this lurking, like, all right, is AJ Brown super pissed off? Is there going to be something that implodes?
Want to kill each other?
Is Sirianni going to say something publicly that he probably shouldn't and just be like a massive meathead? Like, I think that Buffalo is a little bit more buttoned up. I understand the Eagles just won the Super Bowl, and that's very oxymoronic to just go out and say, oh, well, I don't know if the Eagles can really do it. I know they just did it.
They can absolutely still do it. But,
absolutely. Yeah. So Detroit, I think, obviously another team that we care about.
Yeah.
I would put them at number 3 right now. I mean, they've had 3 great weeks in a row after a slow start against Green Bay. So they would be my number 3 in terms of we're power ranking. The Rams were a team that we'll put in
very fun.
Yes. I did like a complete 180 and then another 180 on the Rams where in like June, they were my Super Bowl pick out of the NFC. In August, I was like, I don't know. Stafford's back is still being weird and they're having weird RoboCop chambers come to camp. I might be out. After like week 2, I was like, all right, they're fine. Never mind. Sorry. So I'm very much back in on them.
Puka Nacua might be the best wide receiver in football right now.
He's
I'm
awesome.
Actually working before I hopped on. I'm actively working on a video for tomorrow about Puka. I think I figured out my comp for him. I'm going to hide that though. So check out the channel tomorrow. I've loved that defense. I thought the injection of youth last year was one of my favorite storylines of the year. Like Jarrett Verse, Fisk. There's just so much to be excited about with that defensive front. I could watch that team every week if I had to. Like that's one of the more fun teams for me, schematically and talent wise. I just think that is a team that, if healthy, can make a real dangerous run.
For sure. In the AFC West, I was very surprised that so many people were like, oh, man, the reign of terror for the Chiefs is done. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And then they go out.
We said that last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. They said it for the last 2 years. Like the last year and a half, everybody's been like, oh, man, finally. So I was, even when they were 0-2, I would say, they're still going to win the division more than likely. The Chargers go out and lose to the Giants, and then the Chiefs blow out the Ravens. And I was like, all right, there it is.
They made Tyquan Thornton relevant. Like that's all you need to know about.
Juju Smith-Schuster scored a touchdown on Sunday. It was like, oh my God, man! Like how many guys are they just going to roll out there? Mahomes had 4 touchdowns for the first time since 2023.
Wow!
Just making the Ravens look absolutely pathetic defensively. So, Chiefs Chargers still very much above the give a shit index.
Of course.
The Chargers right now, offensive line wise, like Herbert's been getting hit. And that's something that I'm keeping a very close eye on, because if he gets injured, this team is immediately shooting down the rankings.
Yeah, we've had those issues in the past. Joe Alt sounds like he has a high ankle sprain.
Which are always tricky. It could be, however, like if it's not a serious, it could be, a couple weeks. If it's very serious, it could be over a month. Like those are always a pain in the butt to deal with.
And I swear I've never seen a team in my, how long have I been doing this? 13, 14 years. The Chargers are the most snake bitten team as far as injuries. It feels like every single season.
The 49ers are catching up to them though. Like, it feels like
lately,
every year there.
Lately, yes, for sure. Yeah.
So both those AFC West teams can stay above the index line. Tampa Bay is another team where I know they just lost to Philadelphia, but they seem to have this weird, annoying, like little brother, which is a kind of a bad term, I guess. But like, even when you think they're down and out, they find a way to come back and make things interesting. All 3 of their wins so far have been like last minute comeback wins. So they're a resilient bunch. But even when it looked like the game against Philadelphia was over, they fought back defensively. They played great in the second half, and they made it a game. If Baker doesn't throw a red zone interception, maybe we're talking about them being 4-0 right now. But they're a very fun team. Division-wise, it already feels like the NFC South's wrapped up. It's just a matter of who they'll play, as long as they hold on to things in the NFC South for the playoffs. But this is a very fun team that I don't want to say they're the NFC version of the Bills, in which everybody can really easily root for them, but like everybody seems to really love Baker Mayfield, and rightfully so. Emeka Egbuka's a star. I really like what they're doing. Todd Bowles is even showing some personality too, which is very fun. I saw
some of that. I loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So Tampa Bay, very fun team.
That O-line is just an absolute disaster with injuries, which really stinks for Baker, but like he just keeps finding a way, which I'm blown away by. It does feel like times that he's just not even playing real football. He's just playing Madden or something like that. My closest comp for them is like, because I'm a Hoosier, it's the Indiana Pacers as far as like these crazy comebacks they keep trying to mount. That kind of resilience does matter in professional sports. And I think by the time the playoffs come around, that's a team that you really have to kill by the time the clock hits 0, because they're Randy Marsh. They didn't hear no bell. They're still trying to go for it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll put the Packers here as well above the index line. Look, man, I know you're a Packers guy. I'm very much a Jordan Love guy.
Yeah, same.
A lot of weird conversations were had about him this past offseason that I didn't get. I thought after 2023, he had solidified himself as a guy who was like, all right, yeah, we can take him off any sort of weird lists or weird conversations. Gets injured last year, week 1, plays on like a 1.5 feet basically last year for the rest of the year. And I think the lasting image of him in Philadelphia in the playoff game kind of rubbed people the wrong way, but he's come out and played excellent football throughout the first month. If not for some really bad defensive lapses, especially in the last minute and a half of that game against Dallas on Sunday. We're talking about them potentially being 3-1. If not for a blocked field goal and blocked extra point, they're probably undefeated. So Green Bay is a team that's going to be fine. You'd rather have them have these issues in the first month of the season than in December. They're going to be fine.
I think the big issue like hanging over the Packers right now is Matt LaFleur's conservative approach. And I think it's because he's never had a defense he can lean on to manage a game, and he doesn't know how to manage that. I think he's been way too conservative. Justice Mosqueda, my colleague, did a great article on this about, all the special teams field goal block issues. The Packers, compared to the rest of the league, have been very averse to putting starters on field goal unit. That changed after the blocked extra point. That'll probably be a big change. I think he will understand better how to manage games. You can trust your defense. That means you should be more aggressive, not more conservative. Like, you can go for it on 4th downs and know that the world's not going to end because you're putting your defense on the field if it goes wrong. That's what the bye week's for. My timeline and mentions have been flooded with the most ultimate doomsayers that LaFleur should be fired. The Cowboys actually won the Micah Parsons trade. Just all kinds of nonsense. But I'm like, you've seen what this team looks like when it's firing on all cylinders. Like, just take a breath. The schedule's pretty easy for the next 5-6 games, and then you got the rest of the division. So figure it out over that span and then try and win the North.
And, fans are always, look, myself very much included. You get emotional, you get irritated, you say some shit that's probably a little bit over the top. And that's just the nature of the beast when it comes to both covering the league and just being a fan in general, where you get frustrated after a loss. You say a bunch of stuff that probably is just emotion driven.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count after a loss.
Exactly. It doesn't count. I mean, hell, I'll say it after a win. Like, a bunch of Steelers fans got pissed off at me because even after a win, I wrote, Mike Tomlin might be the biggest coward coach in the NFL when it comes to like big moment stuff.
Old school guy.
Yeah. I mean, look, I very much stand by that. But, there's some fair criticism. Just like, dude, they won. How about start off with some good stuff? Fair enough. Point taken. When coming after a tie, I've been on, I've seen 2 Steelers ties over the last 5 years. And it's just like, all right, I'd almost rather them lose just so I can at least feel some sort of way. I hate ties. We need to get rid of them. There's been plenty of people saying the kickoff, almost like an NHL shootout, but just exchanging field goals makes perfect sense.
That sounds terrible. No, that's not football. That's not.
What would you rather do?
I want 2 to 5 more minutes of overtime. I love having both teams be able to get possessions, but 10 minutes isn't enough because in theory, you could literally just drain the clock on one drive. Lie has to go right for you to do that, but I still think that's a possibility. If you are going to enforce this, both teams are going to get the ball. It's got to be a little bit longer than 10 minutes. If it wanted to be 12, that's fine with me too. I just think, you saw at the end of last game or this Cowboys-Packers game, Packers just ran out of clock. Definitely their fault. They did not manage that well.
Horrible time management. Yeah.
But I think that extra 2 minutes does matter with the new rule change.
My buddy Jason Fitz over at Yahoo Sports had a terrific idea during this past offseason where he said that the first team to get the ball in overtime, you start a running clock, and however much time it takes for them to score, the other team gets that amount of time.
I really like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So if your defense allows a touchdown in 16 seconds, that sucks for your offense, but good luck.
That's like the equivalent of someone's proposed the end of NBA basketball games needs to be like the magic score number that's determined after the third quarter based on how the game's going, and whoever reaches that point total first, that's when the game ends.
Oh,
that way you get rid of like the intentional fouls and free throw contests at the end of games.
That's not a bad idea. Wait, the NBA does that now?
No. It was a proposal thing. So I love the wacky end of game ideas people have to incentivize the actual sport being played versus over aggressive clock management.
I can agree with that. In terms of the rest of the above the line.
Yeah.
Let's go Seattle. We can put them above there.
I was going to say, I very strongly want Seattle on here. I got
to say, I'm not high on Seattle, but they've done too much in the first month where I can't put them under the line.
I love the defense too much. I watched the whole film from Thursday Night Football, and the way they were attacking those condensed split formations for Arizona, it's just like there's less ground for us to cover. Let's just send the house constantly. Yeah. And it's funny because they were the second lowest blitz rate team in the NFL before that game, but they saw how much the Cardinals liked those condensed splits, and they're like, let's just be overly aggressive. Seahawks fans do not like their secondary right now, which blows me away because I think Julian Love and Witherspoon are fun players.
Yeah, and now there's rumors that they're going to try to trade Reek Woolen.
That one I kind of get.
Take me through that, because a lot of people don't, and I got to tell you, I don't get the idea of trading a good cornerback, even though you have Witherspoon, Kobe Bryant back there as well. Like, what's the logic here?
I just think stylistically, he's not matching what they want, and maybe he's too tall, fast versus fluid. I don't know if he's as aggressive as his physical tools would suggest. I just think he'd probably be a better fit somewhere else, which is fine. And if he wants out, you can get pretty decent value out of him. It does stink, but I just think they have enough good pieces everywhere else. I think they could afford to part with them. All
right. Yeah, I would agree. The defense is awesome. I'm still not sold on the offense. I understand they put up 1 billion points against the Saints, and they came out and beat the Cardinals. They're 3-1, and that's great. I think I need to see, and look, it's unfair, I guess, but I'm still very much like, it's still Sam Darnold. I don't know if I like Sam Darnold.
He's just doing a good job of not shooting himself in the foot.
He's been a very good distributor. It's like, all right.
And if that's all you need with that defense, I think that's where you can be really successful. The problem is when these bigger games happen, is he going to go back to panicking and getting sacked in the pocket and making back-breaking mistakes?
And not even necessarily just that for me, but is he going to be able to go tick for tack in high-scoring games and whatnot? And are you going to rely on him to do it? Weapon-wise too, there's been some nice developments with Torrey Horton, AJ Barner.
Torrey Horton's my guy, man. I'm just excited.
He's a lot of people's guys. I think that they drafted Elijah Arroyo, but AJ Barner's been the guy who's getting kind of more.
That surprised me because I liked Arroyo coming out too, but the AJ Barner ascension has been cool to see.
I was really pissed gambling wise because I threw together one of those. It was like, all right, this probably won't hit, but I'll throw $5 to try to win, 500. AJ Barner was part of the touchdown parlay. He's the first one to score. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, we're going to do it. And then, Zach Charbonnet scores instead of Kenneth Walker and,
touchdown
Kyler Murray.
vultures.
Kyler Murray doesn't run into the end zone. So it was one of those situations.
That's
Is what
gambling.
it is. That's you know what? That's gambling.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep it going here. The Colts we can put above the index
all
line.
right.
Good for Daniel Jones. Again, similar to Sam Darnold, where I'm not really sold on it, but like good story, good for him. Shane Steichen seems to have just sat him down at one point and been like, dude, I'm going to scheme things very easily. There's going to be open guys. Get it to the open guy. If there's nothing there, they're not covering you. Just use your athleticism, take off when need be. Jonathan Taylor's having a really nice year, somehow very quietly. And defensively, we talked about Lou Anarumo already, but I think the addition
it's awesome
at defensive coordinator that he's been a really positive influence on that team. So yeah, good for the Colts.
I've got a lot of takes on them. Obviously, that's the hometown team. Excuse me. Xavier Howard's a clear weak link on that defense. Like that's a real, concern for me. But the rest of that defense is rock solid. I actually think the offensive line got better despite the departures. Losing Will Fries and Ryan Kelly, Tanner Bordellini at center. I know he got his ass handed to him on a rep against the Rams, but throughout the year has been such a huge upgrade on that offensive line. Really excited to see that. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor's going off. They have so many weapons for Daniel Jones to throw to, and Tyler Warren, man, like
he's awesome.
They got this MFer running fullback dives. Like I'm on cloud 9 watching this guy play football right now.
As a Penn State guy, I'm very happy to see what Tyler Warren has
just
has
an
been
absolute
doing.
beast. They really are utilizing him exactly how I hoped they would. There's just a lot of fun storylines, and like I know, Colts fans are a little disappointed in how they lost because it was AD Mitchell making some horrendous mental mistakes. But
you can take something from that and say, all right, well, if it's not for that, then we probably win.
You went toe to toe with an honest Super Bowl contender, so like should be pretty psyched about that, especially with how bad the vibes were going into week 1. They're 3-1 and looking great.
Absolutely. All right, this is where the line starts to get a little blurry because we're 10, 11 teams in. There's going to be some teams that you might want above the line, some teams I might. So who do you want above the line in terms of teams we haven't talked about yet? We can kind of debate if they should
put me on the spot. Give me a second.
That's okay.
Pull up. What's funny is you can cover this league for as long and you just forget where all the teams are. I'm still going to give a shit about the Ravens. Like,
oh yeah, that's fair. Yeah, we'll keep them above the line just because we kind of have to, right?
The vibes are so bad. The injuries are bad.
If they lose to Houston this week, we're going to have some real conversations about what
Zach Orr will be if that happens.
I agree.
I think that's the biggest downgrade no one wanted to talk about was losing Mike McDonald, and you can see the impact he's having in Seattle with that defense.
Especially when you look at like where some of those guys who were with McDonald went and just immediately stopped being impact players. Like Geno Stone went to Cincinnati and did nothing.
Yeah.
We've seen guys come in, veteran guys like Kyle Van Noy, who had a great year under McDonald. And he's still a fine player, but like not having as productive of games that he did with McDonald under Zach Orr. So there's a clear drop off there.
Yeah. I am worried about the defense, but like this is a Ravens team that's had some slow starts in the past and they've really turned it around. So Lamar Jackson is
quite the equalizer.
My favorite college football player of all time. And I just will root for him until he retires. So
yeah,
I still very much give a shit.
Yeah, no, I'm a Steelers fan, so I will root against him as long as I live. I don't know. Being a Steelers fan, this is a good segue. I feel like I have to put them above it because there's a very real possibility they host a playoff game.
I can't get there, man. I really can't.
Oh, you're going to put the Steelers under the index.
I can't. Aaron Rodgers is playing so well right now
which is hilarious. Oh, I love it.
Watching him buy into, an Arthur Smith, like that working relationship seems to be going really well right now. Yeah. I've seen old quarterbacks that aren't named Tom Brady and how quickly things can go south. I think that check down stuff can be snuffed out pretty quickly. Yes, you have DK Metcalf as the deep option, but I think the second that, Rodgers' legs start going out even more or his arm gets tired or something, like I think the whole house of cards collapses and I'm worried. So here, I'll compromise with you. Right now, I'll still give a shit about them.
Okay.
But I'm just going to let you know, I'm ready to pull that plug quickly.
Some breaking news. The Commanders have signed Robbie Chosen to their practice squad.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of things we don't need to give a shit about.
We had to pause the show for Robbie Chosen.
Yeah, no. Man, speaking of things we don't have to care about, there's Robbie Chosen somehow still in the league. You know what? I when it comes to this index, I think we need to define real quick what it is.
It's very scientific index.
Yes. Is this something that we're putting only Super Bowl contenders in? Because there's plenty of teams that I think will go above the line that aren't contenders. I think for the index, it's teams that can or almost certainly will be in the postseason. And then teams under that are, all right, like this is an inconsequential team who's not going to have any sort of postseason vibes whatsoever.
I was just going off vibes. For all my data and all my analytics, I'm a big vibes guy. So I literally was taking it literally. Do I give a shit about this team?
Okay, that's fair. I think, yours is probably a better approach than mine. And I'm obviously very biased when it comes to, the Steelers and wanting them to do well, despite what many people, think that I hate the Steelers. That sort of visceral hatred can only come from love. And that's, that's how I seem to approach Pittsburgh. Are we putting Jacksonville above the give a shit index? I picked them to win the division coming into the year.
I did too.
I think I'm going to put them above it.
Yeah.
They're 3-1 right now. They're tied for the division lead. I love what Liam Cohen has done so far. I think defensively, there's a lot to be talked about.
A lot of really good players on defense. Liam Cohen, I think the thing I like about him so much, and I think his perception as an offensive mind gets misconstrued. I think his biggest value add is in the run game. And I think that's why Travis Etienne.
I mean, we've seen it with Travis Etienne, yeah.
Bucky Irving last year was just like this overnight sensation. Like the way he schemes up and uses eye candy and motion and all these ways to just open up the run game. It's really cool to see because like I just think all the pieces are fitting well together. Besides Trevor Lawrence in the passing game, figuring it out. I have Travis Hunter in fantasy, and I want to pull my hair out every week. But like, it's a work in progress, which makes me more excited because I think this team can get even better and be a little bit dangerous, which is fun. And I like that Cohen kind of has this FU side to him.
I love that. And I think that's what Jacksonville needed because Doug Peterson was so checked out by like week 2 last year where
he had senioritis if I've ever seen
that's such a good shout. Yeah,
he's like
funny.
I've got a Super Bowl ring, who cares, let's just
that's a great point. But they needed this. They needed a guy who was very much like pushback. Like there was the thing against Cincinnati where like he's telling Trevor like put it on his effing chest and Trevor's like whatever. But I think that
I actually I liked that more than people were freaking out about.
I did too. I
think that's I hate comparing this stuff, but like I coached high school football and like me and other coaches screamed at each other and you're totally fine afterwards. Like that's just what football is. It's like, you've got to like be very passionate about what you're thinking. And I think productive dialogue comes out of that.
I think so too. So I'm going to put Jacksonville above the index line. I think that they are firmly above that for me, sitting at 3-1. Who do they play next week? I should get the schedule pulled up to see what
I'll never know ever. What the schedule is for the upcoming
outside of like the team that I root for, I'm not going to know who anybody plays. So let's pull up the Jaguars schedule.
There's too much other stuff I'm trying to learn.
I agree.
About
oh, wow. Big game. They play the Chiefs on Monday night.
That'll be really fun, actually.
That's
going to be a really fun game. Like an actually relevant Monday Night Football game in Jacksonville. What a time to be alive.
I will be so happy if Jacksonville wins.
That'd be really cool. I'm excited about this now. You got me a little fired up for Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Send the Chiefs to 2-3. Oh, what a time. Yeah, that would be good. I would like that a lot. We talked about this team already in the recap. Denver, are you putting them above the index line?
They're a playoff team. They could be really dangerous, but I don't give a shit about them.
Wow. All right. Yes, I love it.
It's just like they could definitely get in there later. I'm just too bored by them. Bo Nix is having that sophomore slump in my eyes. Like maybe the stats don't tell it, but like
if you like Tennessee game, he was bad.
Yeah.
The week 3 matchup wasn't great. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
He looks too determined to try and make big plays instead of just like Sean Payton doesn't want that. Sean Payton just wants him to make the right play.
And he overthrows. It seems like he overthrows every deep ball.
I want to scream on his rollouts. Like, just hit the open guy right away. Stop stalling and letting defenders get into position to, decleat your teammate. So the offense, I'm a little just can't get into, and the defense is struggling right now. I think they'll definitely get above the give a shit index in a couple weeks, but right now I just can't. Like, it's just too boring.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people point out with Nix that instead of just climbing up in the pocket, he's running up in the pocket and throwing it on the run, which is putting a little bit too much on.
I like that. That's a good take. Yeah.
That, could lead to, I mean, he had Marvin Mims twice against the Chargers where it could have been a touchdown. He's had a few of those this season where it's just like, if you just take a little bit off that and set your feet, these could be scores. So I personally, like, defensively, yes, they're very awesome. And maybe it's just like me being vindictive against the Broncos, but I also would probably put them below it. I didn't have them being a playoff team this year. And yeah,
Okay.
I would agree. They are quite boring offensively. There's outside of Cortland Sutton, man, there's not a lot there. So
I love Cortland Sutton though.
I know I do love Cortland Sutton too. So I'm going to put them just below. I think they might be the line. That might be the team where we look at.
Well, I got one more.
Okay.
One more. I feel confident about. Let me make sure I'm not missing anyone else. But
yeah, that's fine.
I don't give a shit about the Vikings. The Dallas Cowboys.
Good shout.
The Dallas Cowboys, I like.
I picked them to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I think they can get in the wild card. I think Dak is blacking out. Like,
He's having such a good, like, you can't tell by box score, but if you watch Dak play so far this year, he's balling.
I mean, that rollout while getting hit in overtime was just an absolute seed. He had a few throws like that throughout the game. I feel like we completely lost the plot on him last year with the hamstring injury and just how horrendous everything went in Dallas. But the year before that, he was a legitimate MVP candidate.
It was the second time in his career where his value was felt so much by his absence, because back in 2020, where he suffers that ankle injury.
Oh man, that one hurt.
Yeah. And they were just Ben DiNucci was the quarterback for a while there.
Wow.
So yeah, this is the second time in 4 years where it's like, oh man, yeah, Dak actually is great. Look how horrible everything goes in Dallas when he's not there. So, and granted, for the most part, when you go to a backup quarterback, things are going to have a drop off. But Dallas, everybody was talking about coming into the year how bad they were going to be without Micah. But so far they've kept things at least afloat, and that's a team in an NFC where they could maybe sneak in as the 7th seed.
Yeah, I think when the playoffs come around, you need the pass rush, though, so that really worries me.
Yes, me too.
Adding to Jadeveon Clowney, maybe he still has something in the tank, but I'm not totally confident. But you can put up a lot of points when you have Prescott throwing to Jake Ferguson, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens, which I love Pickens. I'll die for that guy. My favorite prospect I've ever watched a wide receiver, just because he was wired. It was just so chaotic, and it was. I love bullies at the position, and I just think he's wired that way. And I still think we haven't seen the best of what he can be.
Yeah, he's like if a shot of Hennessy did cocaine. He's just wild, man. He's out of his mind. And look, as a Steelers fan, he gave me a lot of very fun catches and memories and everything. I understand why they traded him, just in terms of things behind the scenes weren't.
Thought it felt like a very logical move for both sides.
I think so too. I think a fresh start for him was good. Put him with a good quarterback in a contract year. If he just keeps his mind right, he'll get paid. But yeah, I would put them above the index just because I think offensively, when everybody's healthy, that offense can do enough to put them in a playoff spot. So that's a team that I would put above. I agree. I don't care about the Vikings. That team sucks.
I think that team's really good. The quarterback position's just an absolute
That's a better way
mess.
of putting it.
And the O-line's decimated. JJ McCarthy is not ready, and I don't know if he's ever going to be ready. That sounds really mean. Like, yeah, he had that one half of football, but how hurt is he really?
That was my thing immediately. That they didn't even try it throughout practice going into it. They just said, "Oh, peace out. We're not." That felt like a very soft benching and very nice way of saying, "Look, dude, we kind of rushed you. We're gonna sit you for a little bit. Let Carson go out there and do it." Coaching wise, I love him. I think Kevin O'Connell right now, pound for pound, you can make the argument he's the best head coach in the NFL. Brian Flores, maybe the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. Defensively, they're very fun. Offensively, they're a bottom 5 team in EPA per play right now, I believe.
Oh my goodness.
Let me actually get that pulled up, because I don't want to be talking out of my backside here, but I'm pretty sure if we look at EPA per play, they are one of the worst teams offensively. And look, that Falcons game did a lot of heavy lifting for that.
Yep.
And the first 3 quarters of the Bears game didn't help them. But right now they rank 28th in offensive EPA per play. So not great. Bad. The first 57 minutes of the Steelers game, they didn't look good. Despite Mike Tomlin's best efforts in letting them back in that game, they couldn't pull it off. But I do think, as much as I love Kevin O'Connell, as much as I love Brian Flores, obviously the receiving talent with Jefferson and Addison, the quarterback is just too much of a black hole right now for them. And it's going to keep them out of a lot of things.
Do you give a shit about the 49ers?
No.
Okay.
They're so decimated right now in terms of injuries. And
vibes the last couple of years have been real bad.
Hasn't been good. Where, let's see, Purdy's not practicing again. Jawan Jennings isn't practicing again. Kittle's been out. Bosa's done for the year. Like, Brandon Ayuk doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon. I just don't see a reason why I should care about them.
I am going to reserve judgment until Thursday night against the Rams. They are teetering for me. Just the coaching staff is too good.
Oh, the coaching, Kyle Shanahan's great. And defensively, I love Robert Saleh.
I think they can will them in any game, but if it goes bad this week, I think it can get really bad going forward. You got Bucks. They got a nice little reprieve, back-to-back Texans, Giants in a few weeks.
There we go. That'll be a nice little get-right stretch.
It's a really, they're teetering right now for me.
All right. Let's keep looking down this list then. Hold on, let me get it pulled back
I just
up.
looked. I don't think I have anyone else I give a shit about.
I'm going to see if I have anybody else that's worth caring about. Is there any surprises here?
Oh, the Commanders.
The Commanders. Yeah, of course. Do we care about the Commanders?
No.
Yeah, I think I'm there too.
It's very strong Jaden Daniels sophomore slump vibes.
Yes.
I think it's just that team is way too old. Marshawn Lattimore's getting cooked. Bobby Wagner's. I keep being ready to quit on him, and then he'll do stuff where I'm like, that is just like one of the greatest linebackers the NFL seen in the modern era, and he's still doing stuff like that. Like, it's clear he's not the same Bobby Wagner to me, but he'll still just give me those reminders a couple times a game where I'm like, man, I can't.
It's like it's like Hugh Jackman and Logan, where it's like, all right, it's not quite the same, but that's still
yes, that's a really good one. I don't think there's anyone else. The Bears talk to me in a month, and then maybe we can have
the Bears are whispering sweet nothings in my ear right now. So I don't care about the Falcons. Let's stop talking.
Oh, I don't even. They could go 16-0 with this current roster, and I wouldn't give a shit. Like, that's just how I feel.
So what team are we drawing the line at?
I think it's Cowboys.
Cowboys is good. I think the Cowboys are going to be the last team on the index in terms of teams that we care about. That's fine. Yeah. You didn't put Pittsburgh in yours. I'm going to put them in mine. Mm-hmm. The Cardinals, I don't care about. Yeah, to hell with that.
We don't even need a conversation about Arizona. I do not care.
I wrote something. It was just like, is Kyler Murray good? And the simple answer is no. Like, we know what he is at this point. It's year 7. Like,
he's fine.
He's baloney. Like, it'll get you through the day. It'll get you through lunch.
He'll have a couple games a year where you're like, wow, this guy is so incredibly talented. And then he'll just not do anything the rest of the year.
Their offense right now, it can't score. And it's very annoying.
Their body language is horrendous. And it drives me up the wall.
Marvin Harrison, like, for 3/4 of every game, will be the worst receiver you've ever seen. And then we'll have a couple catches in the fourth quarter to make the game interesting before they inevitably lose. So that's a team I do not care. I think they have the right head coach. I like Jonathan Gannon.
I did not like him when he got hired. Just
I didn't either.
And he's really, like, I think what I appreciate most is that team's done a lot with very little on defense.
Yes.
And if you have that kind of buy-in from the team, like, just get some good players on this roster. And I really think they can be relevant in a couple of years, but that might also include finding another quarterback.
I agree. And I think that they'll survive that. They'll go get another quarterback. You know what? I'm actually going to put another team above my index. I'm putting the Patriots as a team that I give a shit about.
Ooh, yeah. Their special teams is outstanding so far. That's, I think, really what's kept them afloat. Drake May's playing really well.
I was a big Drake May guy going into last year. So the Drake May shares that I have in terms of, hey, he's going to be really good, I'm feeling pretty good about.
If he wasn't my QB1, I think he was actually really close, if I recall. It was probably still Caleb. But I mean, I was obsessed with him even his first year starting at UNC. The offense is figuring itself out. Hunter Henry is finally the Hunter Henry I've been waiting like 10 years for him to be. That's probably one of my favorite storylines right now, is that Hunter Henry is like revived his career finally.
The Unk still got it vibes with Hunter Henry.
Yeah. Defense is really fun, and like they've definitely got some shit to them as far as like FU energy of I'm gonna, like, stick it to you and let you know about it. Vrabel's the perfect coach for this roster, and I'm really excited what the final form of it this year can look like, because it can be a little frisky. I'm glad we brought them up. I give a shit about them. I don't know if they're a playoff team. Yeah,
I picked them to be the 7th seed in the AFC this year, so I think that they had that game against Pittsburgh where they had 5 giveaways and still had a chance to win it on the last drive. Like, defensively, I think they're a little bit more sound. than most people would have thought. If they
Spillane was my favorite free agent signing.
Cheddar Bob Spillane, God love him.
He as soon as I saw that signing, I was like, it's perfect. Like everything about that with Vrabel is my favorite signing.
Eventually, when they're both done with whatever they're doing in football, a Mike Vrabel, Bob Spillane podcast would do numbers.
Yep.
It'll certainly be a Barstool show, just two meatheads going at it every week. Oh yeah, I'd listen to it. I think that would be very good. Yeah, I don't care about the Raiders. I don't know how you felt about
so bad.
I don't know how you felt about Geno Smith, but I was very tired of hearing about Geno Smith coming into this year. Like as soon as the Raiders traded for him, everybody's like, "Oh my God, what a move!" But I couldn't care less. I think Geno is certainly a starter in the league, but I think he's very much a middle of the pack starter.
Exactly how I feel about him.
So I was very over the Raiders before the year even started.
Seahawks fans were panicking. They downgraded a quarterback, and that seems very wrong right now.
Yes, it certainly does. So I don't care about the Raiders. Max Crosby, I wish he didn't sign that deal long term. I would have loved to see him play for a team that we do care about. But yeah, the Raiders, they got more grown up. Like Pete Carroll's a grown up, Geno's a grown up, but he's also a grown up throwing 8 interceptions at this point. So
yeah, it's not awesome.
It's not awesome. I don't care about the Browns. I don't think any of us care about the Browns.
Good defense, at least.
The Giants, I don't know. Jackson, I don't care about them as a real team, but Jackson Dart can be.
I give a shit. It's under the line for this exercise, but man, do I give a shit about them?
I care about watching them. I don't think that they're a team worth paying attention to in terms of, hey, this team could win 9 games.
This is the meme version of an NFL team. You've got Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboo and Dable wanting to kiss his quarterback on the sideline, basically. Everything about the content coming out of New York right now is just I don't think the fans even care what the record's going to be. They're just having too much fun with all the people on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know. They went from being like an NFL team to being like the local Kappa Theta Sig chapter at NYU.
Jameis, there's just so many guys on that team that make me laugh. So that's what a year. I hope Giants fans at least enjoy the ride and just stop worrying about wins and losses.
Yeah. Do we think that Russ gets traded?
Well, he has a decent contract, right? Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
I hate predicting quarterback trades because it's just so reliant on someone getting hurt. It feels like so.
Even a team like the Bengals, we already talked about it. I don't think that makes
that financial situation is just a nightmare for any kind of acquisitions or moves. So good thing they just botched all of their signings. So.
Who's the worst team in football right now? We already talked about the
Titans. It's easily the Titans. I think Bryce. I agree. I am actually surprised Bryce Callahan has not been fired as of when we're recording. That sounds mean, but I really feel that you can't admit you don't know the rules. And
I agree.
You can't do whatever happened in the Colts timeouts, field goal, wrong kicker ball thing. You can't just get shut out by the Texans.
That should be the final nail in the coffin for both Brian Callahan. They brought in Bill Callahan as the O-line coach, and that hasn't really done anything whatsoever. They had spent so much money at Dan Moore, Kevin Zeitler. Not to say they don't have any pieces up front, because they do, but for the money they spent, Cam Ward, gets hit a lot, runs for his life a lot, and
this team has too many pieces across the offensive roster to be that incompetent on offense, especially when the head coach is supposed to be an offensive mind. He needs to be out of there this week. Again, at the time of recording, I genuinely cannot believe he's not been fired yet. Sounds a little harsh, but it was so bad.
I don't think we need to preempt with it sounds kind of harsh. It's the NFL. You get paid to do a good job and know the rules and put together a competent product for your number 1 overall pick at quarterback, and you haven't done it. You're 0-4, and you're embarrassingly 0-4. At that point, you don't deserve to have a job. He'll get some sort of offensive assistant position somewhere. But head coach wise, I think that this is the last time we'll see him have any sort of moniker like that.
Only they had a real rah-rah culture head coach that was a meathead and a former player that was really good.
Yeah, if only they had that. I don't know. It's like they had it at one point, who got him to the number 1 seed with Ryan goddamn Tannehill at quarterback, and they just let him go.
No one ever got a more raw deal, in my opinion, than Mike Vrabel in the last
for sure.
I could not believe that when that happened.
I was very shocked when that happened. And look, power struggles are real in the NFL. He lost the power struggle. But that is, in hindsight, I think we'll look at that in 10 years and say that's one of the worst firings in NFL history in terms of a team that had a good head coach, especially if the Patriots take off and become the Patriots again. Yeah. Oh God, Yeah, that'll be interesting for sure. They played Tennessee this year. I can't remember if it's in Tennessee.
Oh, that's gonna be. If that's not a slaughter, I'll be surprised.
Let me look. I'm pretty sure it's in Tennessee, which will be great. Let's look and see. The Patriot in Tennessee, October 19th.
That's coming up too.
So that's in a couple weeks. So that'll be good. Yeah, I think the Panthers are another team where they're going to have everything blown up by next year. That's just not a good team, man.
Yep.
What do we think about Dave Canales? He might be the second coach fired.
That Panthers team, man. I thought I saw glimpses last year.
I think we all did, like in the final couple weeks, and then.
But if that happens again, maybe he stays around. So
I don't know. We've slowly realized that maybe it only happens because they play the Falcons really well, and that's probably it. Yeah, I don't know. Bryce Young doesn't seem to be the answer. That seems to be a situation where it'll be new head coach, new quarterback by this time next year.
Yeah, seems like it's over. Again, maybe they turn it around, but I don't think he gets fired in season though. I think that's an end of year thing.
I would agree. That just feels like too much to go through again with the Panthers. So that'll be something that they kind of stick out to the end. But yeah, I think we found a nice line to draw it out. So are we drawing it at Dallas or are we drawing it at New England?
Could we say Pittsburgh since that was
I guess so. You know what? That's pretty fitting for me that the Steelers are the team we draw the line at.
I mean, it's the only team we disagreed on as far as
it
under
is.
and above. So.
It is. That's completely fair. I love it. Buddy, thank you so much for joining me today. This is a lot of fun. Plug anything and everything that you've got going on that people should check out.
Subscribe to Best Available on YouTube. I kind of write sometimes, very rarely nowadays, but I've pivoted a lot to video content, had a lot of fun with it. It's growing pretty quickly. So subscribe. To do videos on draft, football, or NFL schemes, players, all that. But yeah, Puka Nacua video dropping on Wednesday. So check that out.
I love it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe. If you're listening as a podcast, leave a comment, leave a review, do all that fun stuff. And if you're watching on YouTube, head over. I just did a sit down with Kirk Cousins. So go and watch that. That was nice of Kirk to give me a little bit of his time on Monday. So go and give that a watch. And we'll be back later on in the week to preview week 5 around the NFL. It goes so fast. So fast. We're speeding up. We've hit the high gear. So appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you later on. It's Bump Fake.